Yeah, that's the little one. Yeah, there was 21 and 24. So that's little one. He was on fire, the motherfucker.
Yeah.
But he was very weak. You know, if I were to be a violent guy, I could have taken them. It came through my mind, like, if I want, I could have jumped on little one's shield and twist big one's head and crack their fucking neck. But I was like, no, that's not what we're here for. It's not what we're here for. We're here for a peaceful protest, man. And it's not these people's fault either. Yeah. So in a way, they were beating the shit out of me. I was like, whatever, man. This gonna sting later. But why do you do this?
I'm really stoked to be joined by you today, and I'm happy you were able to join me. And we covered your story yesterday, and boom, and you explained a little bit. You expressed a little bit of a disappointment that no one reached out to you to chat with you, and I was disappointed in myself that I didn't think to do the same. We covered your story. I showed your pictures and everything, your Galaxy brews, and I'm glad you expressed your willingness to come on and chat and share your story. So thanks for joining me. How are you doing today? What's up, Javi? Nice to meet you.
Healing slowly, and it's a pleasure to be talking to you. You're like one of the nicest streamers around, and I'm all for the wholesome vibes, man.
We try wholesome vibes. I appreciate that. You're obviously a nice dude. That's sweet of you. So Javi, obviously we reached out because we wanted to get the firsthand perspective. What's going on in Spain? We watched some different videos of the protests in response to the homophobic killing of I'm sorry, I want to say Luis. I'm forgetting the name. I'm forgetting his name.
Samuel
Luis. And you're in Spain currently. If you don't mind sharing whereabouts you are, where you live, and how about we start there, and you can give yourself the shout out as well, and then we could dig into talking about the topic. Sounds good? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm in Madrid, Spain. This is supposedly the capital of the state, and there's a lot of political implications there. But I'm gonna just drop it there because otherwise we're gonna go, digressing through many different branches. But I live in Madrid, and where this happened, the homophobic murder happened in Galicia, in the northern western part of the Iberian Peninsula. It's a big peninsula, so it's a little bit far away physically, but solidarity reaches out all over. And there was a big commotion by the killing of this poor young man in A Coruña, exactly.
Okay, so he was murdered outside of a club. Is that right? They were shouting homophobic slurs. There was apparently a large group, 10 people attacked, and that's all I know about it. Is there any other details we should know?
They were calling him the equivalent of the F word in Spanish.
Yeah.
Which we can say in Spanish because it's not a slur as that in a way that we're recuperating it, like queer in English. In Spanish, maricón is like something that, the collective has recuperated, and that's a good thing. But yeah, they chased him for over 200 meters, and they were beating the shit out of the poor guy for about 15 minutes. It was horrendous. And the thing is, police are being very slow in their investigation. And they were, the judiciary are doubting that it was, that homophobia was a motive. So they're trying to put the murder outside of the hate crime category right now, because the judiciary in Spain is also very, very conservative. The attorneys and everything, and it's terrible. So yeah, we were protesting in Madrid in solidarity. There were protests everywhere in the country, in the state of Spain, because Spain. Yeah, I mean, again, I could digress a lot. That comes from when the Romans called the Iberian Peninsula area the land of rabbits, Hispania. And it's not just the country, it's kind of the area. So I would say Portugal is also involved, and the Iberian Peninsula. It's a big peninsula. There's a lot of territories, nationalities, and diversity there. So there's like two realities: the reality of the people trying to live their lives and to thrive in this environment, and the reality of the state, which is heavily entrenched in Francoist dynamics, we could say. Comes from back in 1975, the year I was born, which is a funny thing. I was born on the 4th of December, on the birthday of the dictator, but the dictator died on the 20th of November. It's like he left the spot free for me. funny thing. And yeah, and 1975, dictator dies of old age. Nobody could topple the dictatorship. The fascist regime goes on, and in 1978, this constitution was signed. There was like a compromise between the reactionary forces that were installed in the government in power, minus the dictator, plus all the democratic forces, all the people who were trying to set up political parties and everything. So it's kind of compromised. It was a really bad compromise because the fascists were threatening with violence, and the democratic people were just trying to make a better society for everyone, and didn't work out very well. And that's more or less the consequences why most of these judiciary bodies and police bodies are not fully democratic. They still they have a stink of Francoism, if you know what I mean.
I think I'm starting to put some of the pieces together, Javi, and perhaps some viewers are as well. Javi, you've spoken to sort of two different realities. One, the reality of the people. Two, the reality of the state. And I think we saw the clash of both. And please feel free to correct me if I misspeak. I want to pull something up that we were looking at right before you joined us today. This is the global divide on acceptance of homosexuality. Percent who say homosexuality should be accepted by society, and you got to take the data with a grain of salt. The degree of accuracy is I can't speak to it. Okay, but however, I was taking a quick peek at it, and Sweden seems to be the number one least homophobic place in the world. Netherlands looks like number 2 with 92%, and then Spain seems to be number 3. So the reality is, the people say homosexuality overwhelmingly should be accepted. Obviously, there's room for growth, and I think that's what we're seeing. Why we saw the protests to begin with. But I think this really is a great example of perhaps what you were saying. The people overwhelmingly say it should be accepted by society. The state disagrees. And
in a way, the thing is, the social majority of Spain are people who want to live in peace and be tolerant with everybody. That's it, a little bit besides politics, in a way that it's a political position, but it's not a heavily involved political position per se. But the thing is, there's been a campaign on behalf of the fascist parties up to 10 years ago. There was this exception in which, every European country had a fascist party on the rise. We had Marine Le Pen in France. We had every European, including, the disastrous cases of Greece and Poland, in which those parties took power and made a mess of things. Thing in Poland is still ongoing. And the thing is, it was an exception until supposedly Steve Bannon landed on Spain and tried to set up a franchise of a very Trumpist style of populist, extreme right, far right. And they succeeded, basically, because they counted with the support of the media. Most of the media is privatized in Spain. We had public media back in the day. It doesn't happen. I mean, we still have public media, but right now most people see public TV, and alas, it's another sad reality that TV forms the public opinion heavily. It really informs the public opinion of the Spaniards heavily. So when these fascists are what we call whitened, with they're made more palatable by the mainstream media, there's a problem that their discourses start thriving in society, and it emboldens those few who are absolutely impalatable for mainstream society to come up and do the bidding, of the powerful, and that is, I would say, the case. I don't know if it more or less answers your question.
Sure.
So it's kind of complex.
So would you say homophobia is on the rise, or the homophobes are becoming emboldened and they're lashing out, or both?
Yeah, I would say the second. I would say it's just about, there's always a chunk of bad people who are becoming empowered, by these discourses on the mainstream media and those political parties who defend that homophobic and but not only homophobic, I would say it goes, it all goes together. If we apply some intersectional type of analysis, we could, find that there's a xenophobia, homophobia, aporophobia, the fear of the poor, and they hate every marginalized person. Basically, are becoming like the scapegoat for these frustrated people who, in times of crisis, return to violence and bigotry, which is, it's not new in history. It happened before.
Javi, I was wondering if you would be willing to sort of watch this video that we were able to find. I wasn't able to find a lot of media outlets covering it. I was not able to find a lot of video coming out. The best video I found was from Russian state-owned TV as well as Chinese state-owned TV. I'm not getting a lot of great footage and to help to try to understand what was going on here. But I was wondering if you would be willing to watch this video with me as soon as I can find it, and then we're going to go ahead and just sort of pause throughout, and you could tell us what's going on and help us understand here. Here's the Rutality video. So it seems as though there were marches. This is what I think, if I am understanding correctly, there were marches throughout the day protesting the murder of Samuel, and I think this is at the end of the day, and the protesters are like taking down barricades and stuff like that. Is that sort of what's going on here?
Yes, but that happened after the first police charge.
Okay,
because,
so the police started fucking with people,
violence,
and then
people said like, let's set up a barricade so no more police vans come in. Basically, it was absolutely peaceful until they started it. Absolutely peaceful, and they started absolutely unwarranted. I was beating in the first charge that happened because I can tell you like the story from the start. We started in Puerta del Sol. It was like a big meeting, right? There was like a lot of people. I couldn't say a number, but it was huge because Puerta del Sol it's a big square, right? Yeah. And it was overflowing in the adjacent streets and everything. People, there was not enough room, so a lot of people joined into this protest. And suddenly, the organizers go like, okay, this is going to become a march, and then we set off one of the streets up, and then set up to one of the main avenues, and then we took a detour, and then the police were trying to kettle us, I would say, but they couldn't because the thing was too big to kettle. It was too massive to kettle. So instead of kettle, they tried to just barricade, stop, cut our way. And they tried like several times, and people were not overpowering, but outsmarting them. We were, we were going sideways on the streets and all the blockades until they came to a place where they had better control, because there were like a couple of, there was like this corner, not many side accesses, and one of the side accesses that was open, it was open for a while. We came in and they closed it right away. So there was this moment of they were trying to close that access. We were trying to keep it open peacefully, and they started to beat the shit out of everybody who was going through that access. All right. Because if more people were flowing, the protest will continue. But there was absolutely no violence. We were just trying to outsmart them, to outrun them. But, things went out of hand, and it went out of hand because of them. And that's super important, because all the narrative on mainstream media, they're saying the opposite. And they say it in the name of order and in the name of the state of law, the bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. It's repression. It's control. It's a monopoly of force. It's not Nothing to do with democracy. I have democratic bruises to show for it, motherfucker.
Right. Let's check out the democratic process a little bit more, and feel free to tell me to pause and explain anything as we watch. All right, here we go.
Sure thing.
This is again RT, so this is a Russian state-owned TV, but this is again the best video I was able to find. It shows us a couple different angles. We'll see what they're doing here, and then we'll see the police start cracking down brutally. And I want you to tell us about the illegal blows. Okay, anything.
There was a. This is before. This is before the sequence of events is reverted. Like first they charged, second the barricades. That's one of the things that this montage is kind of not very accurate in that sense. I know that they probably did it because the take was more spectacular.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that first they charged, second these young kids barricaded.
Okay, so you're saying this coming up next is the charge. So here's the barricades. This happened after this. This is the charge.
Yeah.
And they're showing. I will say though, they showed like the protesters charging, making it seem like they were charging the police, but it's obviously the opposite, right?
Yeah. This is actually after the first charge.
All right.
They were beating people up, and I came back, and that's me. That's me right there.
I was wondering.
I'm just showing them a phone.
Yeah. And this guy starts pushing on you. Here we go.
Yep.
He really did not like you taking a step towards him.
Yeah, so I pushed back.
And then they both crack you. That looked really bad.
Bum and bum.
That looked awful, dude.
Most of them they miss. And that's the one that hit me in the knee. That really hurt. You can see my reaction there. Oh, yeah. That's the one that busted my knee.
You okay?
The hit on the moment, you recovered and keep going. It kind of hurts to walk.
It's not broken?
I don't think so. It would hurt more if it were broken.
Okay. Well, our thoughts are with you. Obviously, we hope nothing's broken. We hope, bruises suck, and hopefully those you're able to recover from those quickly. But we obviously something's broken. That's a big fucking deal. Do y'all have socialized medicine in Spain? I don't know about that.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
We have social security, they call it, but it's not social security in the way that people in the United States understand it, which is like just the payments. It covers healthcare for everybody. It's universal healthcare. They're trying to fuck it up. They're trying to bring it down and privatize it, but there's a lot of pushback. It's kind of like the position with the NHS in the UK. It's very similar.
Yeah. What is this place behind you? El Corte? I can't read the rest of that. Is this just like some restaurant, or what is that?
El Corte Inglés is like a department store, old school department store that was very big in the Francoist age. Funny thing, in Madrid, in the community, in the region, they're gonna start vaccinating in those places, in private places. They're diverting a lot of public money to do vaccination in private places instead of the public healthcare facilities that they're shutting down. It's incredible.
Okay. So a little neoliberal slide there.
Right on. The drill.
We have so much more video to watch. I love this. All right. So I feel bad for you. And then they start pushing again.
Yep.
And we got Comrade Boots in the background. Comrade Boots gets taken later.
Yeah.
These poor old folks are just trying to get home or some shit, right? They just went shopping or something?
Yeah. People are chanting where was the police, when the murder happened. And that's the moment where everybody was, on the first charge, that's what happens, when you got like a big demonstration, there's a charge and 80% of the people just go like, this is going to be trouble. I'm going to go home. Because people want to live a peaceful life. They don't want to get beat up by the police. It's understandable. But in a way, when so one of the things I've been wondering is like, things are falling apart that big. Is it okay to run away when they start charging? Maybe we should resist. I don't know. We should take a step forward and make a little bit more, be a little bit more, into the struggle. Knowing, that showing up to a demonstration is cool, but staying in it and through the hard times is necessary, I would say.
I will say, excuse me, please.
Yeah. Oh, go no. Sorry. Sorry, we talk over each other. It's online communications. They're basically like that. The thing is, when that charge cut me off from the rest of the demonstration. So I was wondering if they were going to kettle the people who were left. So I went around the corner. I went through, around the block, and I saw that they left the sides open and the back open. There was just the front that they were, waiting. And then that's when it dawned on me that these people were trying to have people scared and go away so they have less people that are more manageable to beat the shit out of them, which is what happened later.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It does seem, while y'all are a lot more courageous, and we were mentioning as we were watching these videos that the Europeans know how to protest a lot better than we do. I do feel bad that I don't see a lot of helmets. I wish y'all had helmets, because you don't never know what these fucking guys are gonna do. They're gonna crack you in the head. I just feel bad for you.
The thing is, nobody was expecting this.
No one's expecting that. That seems to be, yeah. That's the thing that's, otherwise it seems like y'all are smart enough, and it seems, so it's just like out of nowhere, huh? They just start whacking on you.
Because it was like the most socially acceptable demonstration ever. I wouldn't, if I went to an anarchist demonstration or anti-fascist, I know what to expect. Then I can take. But it was like for a young man who was killed for being who he is, and everybody was on the side of that and saying, "Oh, poor kid." There was like a national campaign to mourn for this kid.
Yeah.
Who would have thought this would happen? It's like, no, this is unthinkable. Right. But of course, when you go out of the script, politicians get nervous, and this happened.
Okay, let's keep pushing forward, and then I want to loop back to what you said there, and I think that'll tie into the comment that you made to me on Twitter a little while back. We were right about here. It sucks that they were prepared for this shit.
Yeah.
Right? They show up fully dressed.
There you go. They're kettled already.
Okay, so that's the kettle, huh?
Yeah.
And then they literally drive a van into standing protesters? That is so fucked up, dude. Who the fuck thinks that that's okay? Who the fuck thinks that?
Spanish police. They get really high on cocaine and stuff. It's expected. There've been a lot of reports that they drug them to make them more violent, and you can tell, from the two guys who are beating me in the other clip, you can see that there's one that is absolutely enthusiastic for beating the shit out of me.
Yes.
He wants me. There's another one who is just frustrated because I'm not going back. He was insisting all the time, Go back, motherfucker. Just go back. And I was like, yeah, no, but I want to let people through, I want to break your blockade so we can keep demonstrating peacefully. I'm not going to go back. So keep beating the shit out of me. I don't care. I'm going to take it. One of the things that calls my attention all the time is that people are super afraid of the police. They got all those armor and they wear black. It's like they're trying to be imposing. When you lose the fear, all you get is bruises, but no trauma. And then, you can heal and go back, rinse and repeat. You can really resist them, saying, you're in the wrong side of history. And I'm positive that these motherfuckers, they take trauma home because they've been beating unarmed people who are just standing there. That's got to hurt in your head. That's got to really wreck your melon. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you would think, and you would hope that these people are gonna take that home and fucking stop. Dear gosh, none of this is necessary. And I got really fucking frustrated. And I said something like fuck these cops, these trash cops. And then you said something like, I'm actually more worried about the people who are telling the cops what to do. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, shit. What do you mean by that?
I see these motherfuckers as victims as well as their punishers. They're victims. Okay. In a way that they're subjected to they push them to do this shit. And this is unthinkable shit as a human being, beating the shit out of defenseless human beings. That's gotta harm your head. That's really gotta make you psychological damage. So probably, you know, they have a lot of manipulation techniques, and they have a lot of coercive techniques to push these people to do what they do. So in a way, we're two parts of the grinder, and whoever is cranking the crank, that's on them. It's not on either of us. We're just, you know, the moving parts. But whoever is cranking the crank, we got a beef with them. Right. But of course, you know, some of them will do it with pleasure. There's a lot of one of the problems of the Spanish police, and probably police worldwide, is that by the very nature of the institution, they're welcome into these institutions. You know, Nazis and violent people, people with violent disorders of any kind. You know, they're welcome into these institutions. It's their natural place to be. So I would say, you know, in a way, most of them are victims. There would be a couple of them who are pieces of work, and, you know, probably they deserve, in an ideal system and in a fantasy gulag, they go to the pool with all of the this pool with all of the plastic balls made of many colors, so they can just play and not harm anybody. But, you know, the rest are just can't become better people in a different system, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd like to hope so. I mean, I'm very much into abolishing the police, and they're gonna have to find a new job. Maybe learn to code. It is quite tragic to see everyone just dressed in everyday clothes. The cops showing up in their full military garb and just literally wailing on people.
Yeah, they pepper sprayed a journalist too. So
they pepper sprayed a journalist. My God.
Yep.
All right, this is sad to me because I liked Comrade Boots. They chased Comrade Boots down. You could see they already got bruises on their legs, and then they arrest Comrade Boots.
Comrade Boots got freed the day after. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess most of those tweets are in Spanish. I can translate for y'all.
Okay. So you mentioned 24.
That's the show. Huh?
You mentioned 24, 1024, right? This is the little one that was beating on you?
Yeah, that's the little one. Yeah, there was 21 and 24. So that's little one. He was on fire, the motherfucker.
Yeah.
But he was very weak. You know, if I were to be a violent guy, I could have taken them. It came through my mind, like, if I want, I could have jumped on little one's shield and twist big one's head and crack their fucking neck. But I was like, no, that's not what we're here for. It's not what we're here for. We're here for a peaceful protest, man, and it's not these people's fault either. Yeah. So in a way, they were beating the shit out of me. I was like, whatever, man. This gonna sting later. But why do you do this?
Yeah. All right, just a couple more seconds here in this one. And what is this little one holding? What is that little? Is that a?
Oh, that's a rubber bullet fire gun. Yeah, they shoot rubber bullets at us, and it didn't come to that on this one, but in Catalonia, there were a lot of people who lost eyes to rubber bullets.
Yeah. In
the Catalonian demonstrations in the October 1st a few years ago, when the independence and everything, that was huge. I mean, the violence that was inflicted on us was nothing compared to what the Catalonians had. It was absolutely ridiculous. They landed boats, like two cruise ships. One of them with Tweety and Sylvester from the Looney Tunes in them because of budget cuts, and they rented those boats so all of the police that landed in Catalonia could live there. They were complaining. It was fun to see the poor cops complaining about the shitty conditions that they were being held in those boats, but in a way. The violence that was inflicted upon in Catalonia was incredible. If you see those videos, you see like elderly people sitting on the floor and cops just stomping on their heads and shit like that. It was really bad. It was really bad. And a lot of people lost eyes to those rubber bullets that theoretically they're supposed to bounce on the floor and then, impact on the demonstrators. But they were shooting straight. They were aiming and shooting. It was incredibly, and nobody got, nobody got a fine, or nobody got fired. There was nobody charged with anything. The level of impunity of these police people is incredible. And that's why, a lot of people were telling me like, you should sue, you should go and sue, you should. But I was like, what's the point? Best case scenario, these two losers, 21 and 24, the Laura and Hardy, they would take the fall, but whoever is, in charge of them, they're not gonna. So what's the point?
Right. So yeah, I think that was actually what struck me when you're like, you know what, I'm a little bit more scared of the people instructing these cops to do the beating, because I was like, oh yeah, they're just going to let them get away with it, even though you got it all. It's all on video. And you mentioned something as well. You were calling them illegal blows. You said vertical blows. Was that like hand? What's a vertical blow? Can you help us understand that? Because you said there was
like they shoot you with a. It's supposed to do it sideways and towards your legs and your body.
That's not what they were doing. They were trying to hit your hands. They were trying to hit the phone on your hand. You could tell they were aiming. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And these clowns, they don't know what they're doing, and that's one of the things. They look so scary, but they're really bad at their job. Besides of their job being absolute bullshit, they're really bad at it. And that's one of the things that we need to notice as people, who are ready to face these evil monsters, is that they're really bad at their job, that they really suck, that they are gonna, they're gonna fail heavily at what they do, and we can take advantage of that. They're slow. They're really slow. You cannot run them. You can make them fall. You can make them trip over their own gear. You can make a lot of things to them, just to piss them off. And just it's not their fault what they're doing, but in a way, if they suck at their job, good for us, because we're gonna keep protesting, and they're gonna take that shame to their homes of beating up people who are doing nothing to them. And we're just trying to make positive changes in our societies. So, 13-12.
Javi, you're also showing us that you can outthink them, and I think that you're showing us more experience in these kinds of protests has given you that ability to just sort of outthink them a little bit. They wanted to kettle you, and you're like, no, I know what to do. I'll just go over here. Pretty simple shit. But if you'd never participated in something like that before, you might not have thought to do that, right? You wouldn't even know what a kettle is. Perhaps. That's
why it's always advisable to go with other friends who know what they're doing, so you can follow them, or even keep your eyes open and see the people. You can tell in the demonstration the people who know what they're doing, and follow them all the time. Stick with them. Stick with the people who know what they're doing. All because right. It's true, that we're all raised and indoctrinated in this consumer bullshit, programming that we have, that we're we think like consumers. We're passive. We tend to go to a demonstration as if you're going to a festival or something. You're there with your cell phone, talking to your friends, having some drinks or whatever. And that's fine. It's good to have fun, but you got to keep an eye open, because there's always something around the corner that could happen. Even as we spoke before, even at this one that was supposed to be like the most harmless one ever, and then this happened. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's protest. It's good that you make it into festive and a festive ambient, but don't behave like a guy who's going to a festival, or a girl or a non-binary friend who is going to a festival. You really stay alert, see what the cops are doing. Try to figure out what they're trying to do, and try to outsmart them all the time. Yeah. No.
Awesome. Let me just give a real quick shout out to Real Dan Cody. Thank you for the raid, Real Dan Cody. Real appreciate that. Hello, Raiders. I'm talking right now to Javi. Javi Trino, Spanish protester, was participating in the protests of a murder of Samuel Luis who was murdered, and it seems as though it was based on hatred of homosexuals. It was a homophobic murder. Sorry, I'm struggling with words myself. And Javi Trino was participating in that. Got caught up when the police decided to become violent and stir up some shit. No one was prepared for this kind of police brutality, except for the police. And I think that's such a real. I mean, I'm obviously really sad that happened, but it's good for us to know that, folks, if you're participating in a protest, that could happen. You just don't know. You know, pack a helmet in your backpack. Who knows? Just be safe.
Yes, please. You know, even the simple trick of putting like newspapers and roll them around your sleeves and your legs under your pants. Just roll them with tape them and just newspapers. You know, old newspapers.
Newspapers.
They absorb the truncheons like a charm. Really.
Wow.
You can take a lot of a beating.
Wow. Look at that.
Roll them up and tape them. You know. Set them safe, and they really work like a charm, and they're super cheap to make.
There you go.
And there's a lot of manuals out there about urban guerrilla and surviving in these ambients. Please do check them out and talk to friends who are more experienced into demonstrating, and go out and demonstrate, and go out and protest, and go out because this world is not going to change itself by virtue of magic. You know, and I gotta confess, Dan, I'm more inclined into this other approach that is really good, but everything is worth trying. But this new approach about the theories about the collapse, the imminent collapse of civilization, and how we're on a verge of an energy crisis, a climate crisis, social crisis, economic crisis. You know, everything's gonna go boom, right? So there's this idea about creating go out to the countryside, to the smallest town you can find, and go out with a lot of people who think, like you, who think, that a community can be done that is more horizontal, that is better in a way that is more human, more the economy of sharing, the gift economy, the usufruct, and all the good practices and start doing those labs in smaller communities that aim to be self-reliant eventually, because when the collapse happens, those communities would be more resilient to the disasters associated to them. And I think that's a good strategy in a way. Let them eat themselves, let them fall, and you thrive by building something new, something better, and people will come. I don't know. Right. It's an idea. That's one of the things that are going through my head a lot lately.
Oh, that's beautiful, Javi.
Thank you. Man.
Yeah. Yo, just gotta interject and say it's been so much fun chatting with you today, getting to know you. I have as much time as you have to stick around. I don't want to be too demanding of your time. How about maybe 10, 15 more minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Javi, I'm realizing now I really want to have you back. I have an interview series, Leftist and Chill, and I have a whole bunch of questions. So we'll have to invite you back for that fun times. But obviously, it was important for us today to sort of forego the get to know yas and talk about this really important issue. Before,
yeah, man. I have to make that sacrifice. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you, man.
My pleasure. Thank you, Javi. This is nice.
Love your face.
Oh, love your face. You're beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you. So, by the way, I stole that, and I encourage everyone to steal that as well. I don't know where it comes from, to be honest. Okay, so love your face, Javi. What I want to do, you just really nailed us with a really great bit, something that we could do to build a community and insulate ourselves from the compounding crises all coming together, all seemingly all at the same time. And that's really good shit. What else? What else do you think we should know? We've talked a lot about what's happening and with Samuel Luis, the reactions to that, and the culminating reactions to that as well. What do we need to know? I mean, you're speaking to me. I think I probably likely have a more American audience, generally speaking. What should we know that we don't already know, and that you maybe have not already said? And I know we've said a lot, so if there's nothing left, that's fine.
Yeah, I would say, that probably people will try to lie about it in a way, like in that naive way that the Raptly video that we saw before, in the montage itself, it was like, no, that's not the sequence of events. But I understand, it's more naive, but there will be people who are more insidious into lying to people and say, hey, this was not a peaceful demonstration. Look at all the fights. And ignore the rest of the demonstration that happened absolutely peacefully, and it was wonderful. It was great. It had like some really epic moments. We were chanting things like less parades and more barricades. We were chanting things like dead na at its e, good manure for my garden. Yeah, it was na y muerto, abono pa mi huerto. So more, that na y, good manure for my garden. And, we're chanting a lot of good stuff. And we saw the revolutionary component of the LGBTQ plus community in Spain in a way that, I saw it like last year. I was filming the critical pride parade. There's like the mainstream pride with all the brands and all the bullshit, and there's the critical pride with the alternative people demonstrating. And I saw that every discourse that was said at the end of the parade and during the parade, it was politically charged. It was critical, and it was defending all other oppressed identities, including class, race, nationality, whatnot, and saying this is something that is good for society. We should really support these people and be radical and be intersectional. There's no single issue movement that can succeed without the others. And it's fine that your focus is on one issue. It's really fine, but be open to your comrades who are going to put some other issues on the table, and they're all good. Society is a complex thing with a lot of moving pieces. So it's fine that we share the load together. In the collective, there's the strength. And that there people are going to lie, that there were disorders and people were throwing objects up, but that's not true. Nothing happened until the cops came and broke violence. I think that's...
I think with that said, I'm realizing now that the RT video really doesn't do a good job. It honestly paints the protesters worse than I realized. I was like watching it on the side of the protesters, but now I'm trying to take myself out of my own shoes and watch it from another perspective, and it sort of makes the protesters look bad, and I think it does that by taking things out of context. So I'm really happy I had you on to talk about that and to point that out specifically. I want to also point out again, I want to point out again that Spain again is like the third least homophobic place in the world. Obviously, because y'all were protesting because there's room for improvement, but I do want to point out that I think the rest of the world could perhaps take a cue from Spain, look at Spain and look at the solidarity that comes out of an event like this, and maybe ask ourselves why, a place like the United States, which has, I think, like a 2-digit percentage a difference at least between people who do and do not support, who think it should be supported in society. I think we should be taking cues, and we should be showing the similar kinds of solidarity, and perhaps we'll see our own number tick up, and as we continue to see room for improvement, which I think will always be the case.
Absolutely. And take notes from Canada. They're starting to burn churches and everything. So
it's a good start. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those are Catholic churches. I think the problem in the United States has more to do with the what's the name of the other guys, the Trump church.
Like evangelicals, Protestant
yes.
types. Yeah.
Yeah. The evangelicals who take like this Bible literal and go to, with the fantasy world and try to weaponize fantasy against people. And
That's
be
good.
careful
That's a good way to put it.
Really dangerous.
That's a very good way to put that, Javier. I'm sorry, Javi. I think I made an assumption there. Yeah. I always say that. I always say that's like the skeleton key to understanding the right in the United States is that they have their own alternative facts. They have an alternative reality, and then they try to force it down our throats. You said it better though. More succinctly. You're better at my language.
No, I'm better at tweets.
Well, Javier, I think that's a great spot to wrap it up. If you don't mind, give yourself the big shout out again. What do you do? Where can people find you doing it? And anything else that we should know about you?
I don't know. I got a Twitch channel, which is my handle, Javi Trino, and I have a YouTube channel, which is Coño de Izquierdas, aka Leftist Loudmouth. But my main thing is I do a lot of music, right? I do. Yeah, I'm preparing a second album right now. I just finished, like before we started with this call, I just finished a track.
Yeah, you got like really nice headphones. Like the only people that I know that have those headphones are musicians. So I'm like, that starts to make some sense there. You babies.
They were expensive, but
I know.
Really sweet. You can wear them for hours.
I know. I'm a little jealous. I love them.
Damn, let's get them some headphones, people. Just try and give them some bits, and we can buy some headphones because it's really worth it. And I want you to be comfortable and good.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
That's what we're here for. I'm very grateful for you to allow me to be here with you, and it's such a pleasure to talk to you. You're absolutely a nice person. I'm so glad, man.
That's a beautiful thing. You're a beautiful human. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for coming by. We're gonna have to invite you in again and get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. But this was a great way to start to get to know you. And thank you again for sharing the story, Javi. Thank you for being a fucking wonderful, courageous human being, showing solidarity for an important cause. And unfortunately, you took a beating for it, and that's sad and that sucks. So hopefully, you hopefully start to heal from that sooner than later, and you'll be in our thoughts, Javi. Thank you so much for dropping by, buddy.
Thank you, fantastic human being yourself.
All right, we're gonna let you go. Peace and solidarity. See you next time.
Peace and love. Live long and prosper.
Ooh, nice. Hey, YouTube. You're watching a clip from my Twitch channel. twitch.tv/iDanSimpson, where you can follow for free and subscribe for only $5 a month. Thanks for watching.